Spent in a miserable way.
U.S. News: Donald Trump, Super Bowl, India. Your Friday briefing. The New York Times. Want to get this briefing by mail? Here's this. Our reporters spoke with President Trump on Thursday. We're also looking. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat of New Jersey, announced today that he is. President Trump said on Thursday that he had all but given up negotiating with Congress to fund a wall on the southwestern border, suggesting that he planned to declare a national emergency to build it instead. Mr. Trump made the remarks during which he also dismissed the investigations that have dogged his presidency, expressed optimism about reaching a trade deal with China, and denied being at odds with his intelligence chief. Here are and fact check about trade, the military and the flow of drugs at the border with Mexico. Background: the interview was arranged after Mr. Trump invited Ajay Salthaja, the publisher of The Times, to an off-the-record dinner. Mr. Salthaja, The Daily is about a discussion of the media during Thursday's interview. Bitter temperatures are today, as the dangerously cold weather system that has disrupted life in the region heads toward the east coast. On Thursday, a temperature of -38 was recorded in Illinois. If confirmed, notable at least 21 deaths have been attributed to the cold, who was found unconscious outside a campus building. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is expected to announce this morning, based on the long-running accusation that Moscow is violating its terms. Russia has likewise. American officials expect a full withdrawal from the treaty after 6 months. Starting on background: the INF was long considered a model arms control treaty, banning an entire category of weapons deployed in the 1980s. But China was not. The Super Bowl on Sunday between the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots followed a season in which the league's TV ratings rebounded after dropping the previous 2 years. Plenty of dangers remain UAE, including the concussion crisis and dwindling attendance UAE, but new stars and fewer off-the-field controversies. The details: the game starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Another angle: the Rams' Sean MC Virginia, 33, is the youngest head coach in Super Bowl history. The rest of the league: she's been a punchline for most of her adult life, after she cut off her husband's penis 26 years ago. But few asked. Lorena Gallo, as she is now known, one of a young immigrant who snapped after enduring years of domestic violence. An uncertain jobs report: analysts estimate the U.S. economy added 172,000 jobs in January, although the effects of the partial government shutdown will make the monthly report unusually hard to interpret. When it's released, a bipartisan rebuked the Senate to advance legislation drafted by Mitch McConnell, the majority leader, to express strong opposition to President Trump's withdrawal of U.S. military forces from Syria and Afghanistan. Apple Facebook dispute: Apple restored access to its internal apps for Facebook's 35,000 workers on Thursday, after cutting it off for 2 days over a violation of Apple's rules. Between two tech, clarity on Trump Tower calls: phone calls that Donald Trump Jr. received from a blocked number around the time of a 2016 meeting with Russians, not his father, according to evidence obtained by Senate investigators. There have long been India's economy months before a general election. The government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi said to show the unemployment rate at a 45-year high. Mr. Modi's snapshot above: the funeral service for Kim Bok-dong in Seoul, South Korea, today. Ms. Kim, News Quiz: did you follow the headlines this week?
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.